The hooded man with cloak questions the status of the monsters up front, but Yinsung's sharp reply reveals something's off. Those threats aren't gone yet. The hooded man with cloak activates a magical detection device, shocked as it reacts to lingering magic, despite his certainty that all threats were eliminated. Suddenly, a massive iron golem crashes through the shadows, sending the crowd into chaos as shouts of warning echo through the dim hall. Yunsung shouts a warning as Velas spots a figure perched atop the iron golem, their ominous presence cutting through the smoky battlefield. Velas's eyes widen as a high-ranking vampire descends, the air thickening with dread while armored figures stand motionless, caught between shock and readiness. Velas bows deeply, voice cutting through the smoke as she announces herself with chilling calm. "Welcome, humans. My name is Velas." Velas declares herself a bloodkin loyal to Jinzo, the mysterious master who rules over these dark, crumbling ruins. Velas steps forward, her eyes burning with fierce loyalty as she swears to protect Jinzo's dark empire at any cost. Velas steps forward, calm but unyielding, acknowledging the challenge as she delivers a sharp proposal, sword still raised and tension crackling in the air. A hand inches toward the gleaming knife blade as a cold ultimatum cuts through the silence. Quietly come along, or face the consequences. Bloodfest ignites as the man with spiky black hair and Velas brace themselves, crimson energy seeping into the ground while the man with black hair grips his sword, ready for the deadly clash ahead. Chanhwa's body convulses as the crimson energy twists violently around him, sweat pouring down his face while shock steals his breath, his own flesh betraying him in this nightmare's grip. Chanhwa commands the crimson energy swirling violently around him, declaring, "Will half of you," as his power surges with deadly intent. Velas steps forward, eyes cold, weaving the crimson energy into deadly orbs as she taunts. "Become my appetizer while the others are dragged along," ready to feast on her foes without mercy. Teresa kneels amid the ruins, channeling pure magic into the glowing artifact as the air hums with divine energy, unleashing the feared LV.5 divine purification to cleanse the battlefield. The frozen tear, a blue crystal swirling with arcane energy, pulses intensely as its SS-level magic power surges, ready to be absorbed and amplify Teresa's spellcasting might. Jinhyuk calmly absorbs the frozen tear's rare, potent energy alongside the Demon's Soul Stone, impressed by his unexpected success in obtaining such a coveted power source. Jinhyuk calmly absorbs the frozen tear's rare, potent energy alongside the Demon's Soul Stone, impressed by his unexpected success in obtaining such a coveted power source. Jinhyuk's eyes narrow as a glowing message materializes, revealing an invitation from the master of the Cloister of the Fallen to enter the innermost room if he wants to rescue the assault team. Teresa's voice trembles as she realizes the assault team wasn't just captured. They've become hostages, raising the stakes far beyond what anyone expected. Teresa ignites her magic, resolute to act without hesitation even if it saves only one life, while the man with black hair watches, tension thick between them. Teresa grips her sword tighter, eyes locked on the winged figure above, wrestling with doubt. Can she really defeat Jinzo, or is she destined to become nothing more than a pawn in the enemy's game? Teresa doubts her solo strength against Jinzo, wondering if the assault team's backup would have changed the deadly outcome she now faces alone. Haunted by doubt, Teresa questions if her choice to stand alone as a paladin, driven to protect others, was a fatal mistake. The man with dark hair and coat declares his detachment from the team and departs, leaving Teresa standing firm as Jinhyuk kneels calmly amidst the ruins. The man with dark hair and coat offers a sharp piece of advice to Teresa, urging her to trust his counsel when decisions become too heavy to bear. The man with black hair lashes out, calling his rival dishonorable and selfish, admitting that this is exactly why he refuses to back down and keeps challenging him, while the man with dark hair and coat remains silent, his back turned in quiet resolve. The man with dark hair and coat declares one thing for certain, while Teresa listens intently amidst the floating debris, tension thick in the dim light. Jin-hyuk's voice cuts through the silence, declaring with unwavering confidence that only that punk holds the power to defeat Jinzo in this world. The man with dark hair and coat turns away, clutching a small object, while Teresa, now smiling, acknowledges his words with a sharp, "Thanks for the advice." Teresa grabs Jin-hyuk's arm firmly, her voice steady as she declares she wants to commission him for a party contract. Jin-hyuk warns his fee won't be cheap, but Teresa counters with a pile of coins, insisting he help her take down Jinzo no matter the cost. Jin-hyuk and Teresa seal their uneasy alliance with a fist bump, steeling themselves to face Jinzo head-on despite the looming danger. Jin-hyuk and Teresa face the ancient door pulsing with overwhelming purple magic, the sheer power warning them that what lies beyond is far from ordinary. The man with black hair urges calm, reminding that the opponent's strength was known, while Teresa hesitates, caught between fear and resolve. Jin-hyuk insists that strength alone doesn't guarantee victory and reveals he does have a plan, pressing Teresa for her trust as the night deepens. Jin-hyuk clasps his hands tightly, the glowing light casting shadows as he demands Teresa's absolute trust, warning her that whatever unfolds inside depends entirely on their unbreakable bond. The man with black hair strides forward into the throne room, flanked by a silent ally, as dozens of eyes from the balcony fixate on their every move beneath the grand chandeliers and blood-red banners. Velis smirks knowingly, the flicker of embers casting shadows across his sharp features, while the hooded figure behind him remains silent, tension thick in the smoky air. Teresa strides forward with fierce resolve, her sword gleaming as she answers the challenge in the dimly lit corridor. The silver-haired woman lounges effortlessly on a throne crowned with skulls, her cold gaze daring anyone to challenge her dark reign. Velis admits exhaustion from waiting, pressing Jin-hyuk for the truth about the people's safety as tension crackles between them like the glowing embers around. With a sharp gesture, Velis shuts down the dimension break, commanding Jin-hyuk to witness the captives firsthand as the oppressive magic fades. Jin-hyuk's sharp gaze locks onto the golden armor as a weary voice questions if Park Ha-jin is the one who unleashed the Guardians, tension thickening the air. Jin-hyuk reveals he summoned them because of the strange smell Teresa emits, leaving her puzzled but tense as the room's silence grows heavy. Jinzo sits calmly, crossing her legs as she admits the scent is the sweetest she's ever smelled, tension thickening the air. Jinzo smiles, fangs flashing as she admits the scent of blood is intoxicating, the sweetest she's ever known, and it's stirring something fierce inside her. Jin-hyuk's shock is clear as Jinzo taunts him, claiming his sweet blood unsettles her like never before, her smirk daring him to react. Jinzo leans in with a sinister calm, promising to savor Jin-hyuk's blood slowly, mocking his tension as she prepares to claim her prize. Jin-hyuk snaps back, refusing to be tethered like a trapped meal, his voice sharp with defiance as he rejects a life dictated by others' control. Jin-hyuk shatters the wall with brutal force, his cold glare cutting through the tension as he snarls, "No one asked for your opinion," shutting down any challenge with ruthless finality. Jinzo commands the dark magic with icy authority, his voice slicing through the chaos as he declares, "You have no say in the matter," sealing fate with a red aura of unstoppable power. Jin-hyuk's intense gaze pierces the chaos as the cracked wall crumbles behind him, signaling the storm about to break. Jinzo's voice cuts through the darkness as she summons a red orb of raw power, declaring there's no escape from her will. Jin-hyuk strides toward the throne, his expression unreadable as the blonde woman's urgent concern fades into silence with his calm, steady reply. Teresa challenges Jin-hyuk's fierceness but promises a sweeter reward than blood, while Jin-hyuk remains kneeling, his expression heavy with unspoken resolve. Jinzo scoffs, settling in her chair as she declares that promises sweeter than blood are nothing but futile deception. Jin-hyuk leans forward, his voice dripping with menace as he challenges. Are you sure about that? Even if my offer to you... Jinzo's red eyes blaze as she questions the very meaning of freedom, her voice cutting through the dark sky, charged with swirling magical energy. The angry man shouting storms forward, his fist crackling with red energy as he bellows a brutal threat, ready to tear his target apart. Jinzo's voice cuts through the chaos, demanding the hooded figure with flaming sword take responsibility for their words as tension ignites between them. Jin-hyuk kneels, voice steady despite the weight of regret, declaring he wouldn't have come if he couldn't face the consequences. Jinzo demands Jin-hyuk own his choices, but Jin-hyuk grips his glowing knife, voice fierce as he claims his name and the weight it carries. Jin-hyuk channels the glowing purple energy to his face, declaring himself the fierce representative of the demonic humans within the tower, ready to prove his resolve. The glowing crack spreads across his face as he touches it, his voice resolute, promising to break the chains and free those trapped within this dark prison. The hooded figure summons a surge of demonic energy, declaring that those who have forsaken humanity are destined to embrace this dark power. Two demonic humans wielding a massive crescent weapon and a glowing red sword block the player's path, sometimes allying with labyrinth monsters to guard the Dark Tower's ascent. Two demonic humans wielding a massive crescent weapon and a glowing red sword block the player's path, sometimes allying with labyrinth monsters to guard the Dark Tower's ascent. A cold voice reveals contact with the temple on the 27th floor, warning that their presence here won't go unnoticed. The ancient ruin is sealed by a pulsating magical barrier, its red symbols casting an ominous glow. Fooling this defense is the only way inside. Teresa's eyes narrow in concern as Jin-hyuk stands firm, his hand hidden behind his back, the glowing knife hinting at a sudden, dangerous transformation no one saw coming. The hooded figure with crescent weapon and two others exchange tense glances, beads of sweat betraying their fear as they question the true power of the temple that has them this rattled. The hooded figure with crescent weapon and two others exchange tense glances, beads of sweat betraying their fear as they question the true power of the temple that has them this rattled. Standing in the glowing red liquid among skulls, the voice cuts through the darkness, dismissing demonic claims and smooth talkers alike, challenging anyone to solve what has long been unsolvable. Standing in the glowing red liquid among skulls, the voice cuts through the darkness, dismissing demonic claims and smooth talkers alike, challenging anyone to solve what has long been unsolvable. Jinzo's eyes gleam with dark fascination as she taunts. You have such sweet-smelling blood. It's truly unfortunate, hinting at a deadly fate sealed by her merciless intent. Jinzo descends through the blood-red sky, unleashing a deadly storm of glowing weapons as she snarls, Die. Jin-hyuk twists through the hail of glowing blades, every narrow dodge a heartbeat closer to deadly impact as the air crackles with lethal intent. Teresa charges with her shield raised, smashing into the dark figure who staggers back, the clash sending shockwaves through the battlefield. A blinding cross erupts as the sacred reinforcement activates, flooding the fighter with a surge of overwhelming power. The hooded figure with crescent weapon braces as the glowing cross pulses, commanding Jin-hyuk to stay behind while preparing to face the oncoming storm head-on. The blonde woman channels every ounce of divine power, gritting her teeth as she vows to hold the line against the relentless assault. Teresa summons the LV.5 sacred shield just in time, unleashing a blinding burst of magic that shatters the falling chains and halts the enemy's advance. Jinzo's mocking laughter cuts through the chaos, taunting her opponent for wasting such fierce effort on so little. Jinzo snarls with venomous hatred, rejecting divine power as something repulsive and vile, her fury burning brighter than ever. Jinzo unleashes a devastating blood explosion from the stairs, shattering the hall with flying debris and a fierce declaration to send everyone flying at once. The armored blonde steels herself, calculating how long she can hold the line while placing her faith in Jinhyuk's backup to turn the tide. Teresa's defense shatters as a glowing purple knife plunges into her side, blood staining her armor while shock freezes her stance amid the chaos. Jinhyuk cradles Teresa as she coughs blood, the glowing knife still buried deep, his expression hardening with grim resolve amid the dark, blood-stained chaos. Jinzo's eyes flare with fury as she summons a surge of crimson energy, her arm rising to unleash a devastating spell in the blood-soaked darkness. The standing figure presses the glowing knife forward, blood pooling beneath the fallen one as a tense challenge cuts through the silence. "If I prove that it's not just a bluff, will you trust me then?" Jinzo mocks Jinhyuk's betrayal, standing tall on the throne as Jinhyuk, knife still glowing, challenges her to prove his loyalty with actions, not words. The injured blonde woman clings to Jinhyuk's pant leg, urging him to remember their plan to save the attack force together despite the chaos surrounding them. With a fierce glare, the attacker raises a glowing knife, demanding, "Was this your plan?" as tension crackles in the smoky air. Jinzo's cracked, glowing face reveals the toll of battle, but the smirking opponent shows no fear, ready to press the advantage in this deadly game. Jinzo's laughter echoes through the red-lit chamber as she mocks the human's effort, coldly acknowledging their allegiance with a chilling grin. Jinzo's laughter echoes through the red-lit chamber as she mocks the human's effort, coldly acknowledging their allegiance with a chilling grin. Jinhyuk reveals a glowing ring, explaining that sealing Alice Nim's soul inside it will temporarily fool the barrier and buy them time. Jinhyuk reveals a glowing ring, explaining that sealing Alice Nim's soul inside it will temporarily fool the barrier and buy them time. Jinzo shatters the barrier with fierce determination, admitting she sacrificed all the experience she could have gained since entering the Tower of Trials just to keep her soul sealed. Jinhyuk unleashes the 7-star skill soul transfer, summoning glowing blue runes that swirl with raw energy, ready to rewrite fate itself. Jinhyuk bursts forward, shattering debris with unstoppable force as the glowing runes blaze, his soul ready to rewrite destiny in a single, devastating strike. Jinhyuk kneels, channeling raw magic through a glowing circle beneath him, defying the warning that it can't be used unless you're level 1. The level 1 condition triggers flawlessly, unleashing the 7-star soul transfer skill with unstoppable force. The level 1 condition triggers flawlessly, unleashing the 7-star soul transfer skill with unstoppable force. Jinhyuk's magic circle pulses with energy, warning it vanishes in a minute and will trigger instantly once the target consents. Now, the choice is theirs alone. Jinhyuk's magic circle pulses with energy, warning it vanishes in a minute and will trigger instantly once the target consents. Now, the choice is theirs alone. Jinzo's voice cuts through the dark as she summons Bellis, confessing her doubts about trust while the magic circle pulses ominously beneath her. Jinzo's voice cuts through the dark as she summons Bellis, confessing her doubts about trust while the magic circle pulses ominously beneath her. Jinzo steps onto the glowing circle, extending her hand with fierce resolve as she demands one last answer. Can she truly trust the unseen force holding her captive in this underground palace? A hand reaches out, promising unwavering loyalty and honor, daring the other to accept and never look back. Kong Jinhyuk activates LV.1 commune. Their fingers touch, sparking a subtle bond that shifts the subject's feelings just enough to lean in their favor. Alice Vaughn Ataraxia utters the command, igniting the glowing ring as ancient runes flare to life, initiating the soul transfer. Jinzo screams as the blue energy swirls violently, declaring that Braham's ring will absorb the soul of progenitor Alice, sealing her fate in the dark mystic void. The ring's blue smoke curls as a hand grasps it, the holder murmuring about the unexpected comfort within its eerie glow. The figure's voice cuts through the haze, questioning if this eerie, glowing ring truly feels like a new home. Jin-hyuk activates the blessing of the star, a radiant power surging from his glowing knife as the armored figure advances, tension crackling in the grand hall. The man's smile widens as purple shards of energy crackle across his face, his voice cutting through the darkness with a chilling, "Welcome back." A glowing emblem reveals the blessing of the star. A single revival is granted, but only if death isn't instant, with a strict 240-hour cooldown ticking down. A glowing emblem reveals the blessing of the star. A single revival is granted, but only if death isn't instant, with a strict 240-hour cooldown ticking down. Blood drips from her mouth, but her eyes blaze with unyielding resolve as she pushes through the pain, refusing to fall. Teresa staggers forward, blood staining her armor, her voice cutting through the smoke with a sharp, "Welcome back." Teresa spits blood, defiantly discarding the rune letter as the Hour Man, clutching a mysterious glowing object that pulses with dark power. Teresa spits blood, defiantly discarding the rune letter as the Hour Man, clutching a mysterious glowing object that pulses with dark power. Bellis lunges forward, his blade cutting through the chaos as Jin-hyuk tightens his grip, ready to face the deadly strike head-on. Bellis roars in fury, unleashing a surge of crimson magic that pulses with raw, destructive power as he condemns the foolish humans daring to challenge him. Bellis shouts his fury, unleashing the devastating LV.13 blood wave, a crimson tsunami that obliterates everything in its path, punishing those who dared betray their master. Bellis shouts his fury, unleashing the devastating LV.13 blood wave, a crimson tsunami that obliterates everything in its path, punishing those who dared betray their master. Jin-hyuk clenches his fist as flames erupt, unleashing the full force of a level 5 fire element to turn the tide in the burning cathedral. Jin-hyuk charges through the blaze, slashing with his purple knife as the explosion tears through the battlefield, scorching everything in its path. Teresa's voice cuts through the smoke, demanding the hostage's location as urgency spikes amidst the chaos. Teresa raises her sword, unleashing the level 4 sign of the cross, a radiant power surging to break the ropes binding the hostages and turn the tide in this desperate fight. The kneeling man confirms their arrival just in time, relief flooding his voice as he asks about the fate of the vampires amidst the ruined battlefield. The kneeling man confirms their arrival just in time, relief flooding his voice as he asks about the fate of the vampires amidst the ruined battlefield. Bellis taunts, swinging his red glowing sword as he unleashes a devastating magic attack, challenging how a mere human can stand against his power. Jin-hyuk grips his glowing purple knife, asserting that Bellis's fire and his magic are complete opposites, and reveals Bellis has misunderstood. The moment Bellis's master was sealed inside the ring changed everything. Jin-hyuk unleashes his grave of swords ability, blades erupting around him as he coldly declares, "You already lost," sealing the fate of the battle. Bellis clenches his gauntlet, unleashing Dark Fighting Spirit level 9 as he snarls, "Shut up, you mere blood pack. If my magic fails, I'll kill you with my sword." The black-haired man shouting orders to destroy the ring ignites the chaos as Bellis charges forward with ruthless intent, while Teresa grips her sword, ready to strike through the smoky battlefield. The black-haired man shouting orders to destroy the ring ignites the chaos as Bellis charges forward with ruthless intent, while Teresa grips her sword, ready to strike through the smoky battlefield. Jin-hyuk stands firm, purple knife gleaming as Teresa demands, "Who the hell is he?" amid fallen hooded figures and the chaos of their brutal clash. Teresa narrows her eyes, revealing she met the masked man by chance, and suspects he hides his identity for a reason as the eerie purple symbol on his mask glows in the dim light. Jin-hyuk advances with his purple hand, glowing ominously, while Teresa, armored and resolute, admits the sting of betrayal. Her first death came in the hands of an ally. Teresa's tears fall as she lets out a relieved smile, whispering, "Yes, we really did it." The weight of their victory sinking in amid the smoky aftermath. Teresa's tears fall as she lets out a relieved smile, whispering, "Yes, we really did it." The weight of their victory sinking in amid the smoky aftermath. They fulfill the conditions, successfully copying the unique ability, Blessing of the Star, and instantly saving it, unlocking new power in an instant. The screen reveals the Blessing of the Star, with SS acquisition difficulty, granting the wielder divine power and the ability to return from the brink of death. The screen reveals the Blessing of the Star, with SS acquisition difficulty, granting the wielder divine power and the ability to return from the brink of death. Jin-hyuk confronts Teresa, accusing her of knowing he could revive, his voice sharp as the glowing text confirms the chilling truth she tries to deny. Jin-hyuk points at the divine artifacts, urging escape, while Teresa pleads for caution, warning him against reckless death in the Grand Hall's tense silence. Song Chanhwa steps forward, claiming command as attack force captain and declaring all raid loot the property of the Balhi Guild, asserting control over the disputed treasures. Jin-hyuk lashes out, accusing the man's side view sweating of greed despite saving his life, while the nervous man hurriedly denies the claim, trying to defuse the tension. Kyanwa promises a different kind of reward, enough money or coins to silence any complaints, his hand slicing through the smoky air with conviction. Jin-hyuk mocks the armored man's failed attack, declaring him beyond saving, while Teresa watches, confused, as Jin-hyuk challenges the man to take what he wants if he's desperate enough. Kyanwa warns his comrade not to regret whatever decision he's about to make, while the other struggles to grasp the weight of those words. The fragment of Merlin's staff glows faintly, its ancient power humming quietly as it promises untold strength and secrets yet to be unleashed. Clutching the glowing artifact, the armored man grins with desperate hope, convinced that seizing the divine relics of the ruin will redeem their fallen forces despite the hostages taken. Pain shoots through his arm as the red symbol burns to life, twisting his face in shock and confusion. Whatever this mark is, it's far from a blessing. Pain shoots through his arm as the red symbol burns to life, twisting his face in shock and confusion. Whatever this mark is, it's far from a blessing. Jin-hyuk summons a glowing golden ring, revealing it's a divine artifact obtainable only by killing Alice. But she's trapped alive inside his ring. As dusk settles, the armored man reels in shock, caught off guard by the sudden twist unfolding before him. Teresa gasps in shock, clutching her mouth as a dark-haired man grabs her shoulder, both stunned by the chaos erupting around them. At the Tower of Trial's entrance, three figures debate the truth behind a mysterious claim, questioning if the intel they've received is nothing but a dangerous lie. One lights a cigarette, insisting on patience, while another argues they must act on the information before it slips through their fingers. Jin-hyuk pushes back, citing the expert's warning that whatever they're chasing won't take less than 3 weeks to surface, forcing them to weigh urgency against cold, hard timelines. Yunsun warns that the ruined subjugation will end soon, expressing unease that the target wasn't part of the Balhi Guild, but insists his gut tells him this is far from over. As the cigarette sparks to life, a sharp notification cuts through the tension. The ruined Hall of the Depraved has been cleared. The glowing portal pulses as the Balhi Guild steps through, drawing gasps and flashes from onlookers eager to capture their arrival. The glowing portal pulses as the Balhi Guild steps through, drawing gasps and flashes from onlookers eager to capture their arrival. The figure steps forward, silencing the crowd with a calm declaration that the true victor was the team's unexpected wildcard, whose relentless strategy turned the tide when all seemed lost. The crowd erupts in shock and confusion, cameras flashing as whispers of chaos ripple through the packed room. Everyone desperate to understand the sudden upheaval that just unfolded. Teresa steps forward, her presence commanding as the crowd realizes she, not Song Chanhua, cleared the ruin, sparking a surge of whispers questioning the Zion Guild's role in the feat. Jin Hyuk steps forward, voice cutting through the murmurs, as he declares that Teresa alone cleared the ruin, silencing doubts and shifting all eyes onto her undeniable strength. Jin Hyuk stands firm, voice low and steady as he admits they were mere spectators to the mastermind's flawless stage performance, powerless beneath his control. Jin Hyuk stands firm, voice low and steady as he admits they were mere spectators to the mastermind's flawless stage performance, powerless beneath his control. Morning breaks over the city as water pours steadily into a cup, while a news headline flashes the burning question, who is the masked player? Jin Hyuk scrolls through the news on his phone, casually munching a stick snack and holding his cup noodles, unfazed as the headlines pile on meaningless details. Jin Hyuk lifts the steaming noodles with chopsticks, acknowledging the unexpected intensity of the reaction while bracing against the heat. Jin Hyuk recalls Teresa's promise to keep his identity secret, easing his mind as he continues eating without a trace of worry. With a confident snap, the instant noodle cup opens, chopsticks ready. With this, the problem is solved. Jin Hyuk smirks, clutching the pendant as he taunts. Shall I have a talk with the progenitor with a chip on her shoulder? Jinzu lashes out, furious and shouting, demanding respect and raging at being stuffed in a dark, smelly pocket all day, while Jin Hyuk holds the pendant calmly, unfazed by the outburst. Jinzu spins wildly, energy rings slicing through the air as dizziness takes over, desperate to stop whatever Jin Hyuk's calm grip on the glowing pendant is about to unleash. Jin Hyuk swings the pendant with a calm smirk, his voice cutting through the tension as he asks, "Well, do you feel better now?" Jinzu screams in fury, collapsing to the floor as he warns, "Would you feel better if you were me?" Listen carefully. Vampires never forget a grudge. Jin Hyuk narrows his eyes skeptically at the glowing pendant, ordering, "Really? Wait, you're not thinking of doing that again, are you? I order you to relax your expression." Jin Hyuk raises his fist, snarling he'll punish Jinzu, who screams in desperation, begging him to stop before she loses her lunch. Jin Hyuk unleashes a brutal strike with his massive energy weapon, shouting "Vampire Grudge Separator," as Jinzu recoils in shock and desperation. A trembling hand reaches desperately for the necklace with the ring, whispering broken pleas of "Hick, Hick, stop, I'm really going to die." A surge of magic pulses from the trembling hand into the ring, igniting it with a fierce glow as a commanding voice cuts through the silence. "Stop crying and come out." Jinzu descends sharply, wings unfurled and crackling with energy, eyes wide as the command pierces the smoky air, barely able to contain a shocked "huh." The sinister figure's voice cuts through the mist as dark energy coils around them, vowing to unleash 1,000-fold revenge and repay every ounce of humiliation endured. The sinister figure's voice cuts through the mist as dark energy coils around them, vowing to unleash 1,000-fold revenge and repay every ounce of humiliation endured. Jinzu's shocked yell cuts through the tension as she reveals she materialized a sealed fragment of herself, leaving the black-haired man reeling in disbelief. Jinzu's shocked yell cuts through the tension as she reveals she materialized a sealed fragment of herself, leaving the black-haired man reeling in disbelief. Jinzu reels in shock, clutching her head as the black-haired man taunts her strength, insisting she's still far beyond any ordinary vampire despite the brutal limits she's under. Jinzu reels in shock, clutching her head as the black-haired man taunts her strength, insisting she's still far beyond any ordinary vampire despite the brutal limits she's under. He challenges the very notion of freedom, promising to help her seize the freedom she truly desires, reshaping her fate with unwavering resolve. Jinzu's tears fall as confusion and desperation crack her voice, demanding to know what he truly means by his impossible promise. Alice von Ataraxia offers a ruthless deal. Help her, and she'll wipe out all who betrayed Jinzu and restore the Ataraxia family's lost glory. The raid seemed doomed until the masked player crashed in wielding a massive dark weapon glowing purple, flipping the entire battle and leaving Jinzu stunned and shouting in disbelief. Jin Hyuk ignited a blazing inferno with every slash of his sword, his furious combos cutting through the darkness as flames exploded around him, proving his skill was beyond mere experience. It was raw, unstoppable power. Whispers spread as two figures connect the dots. Jin Hyuk's absence from the boss raid meant he was lurking in the ruins, and with the Saintess of Amsterdam's nod, his name demands respect, forcing even rivals to bow before his rising legend. Young Man's phone glows as he looks up, sweat dripping, realizing the guilds are hoarding massive wealth while the city's streets whisper secrets he can't ignore. Young Man's eyes lock onto the towering office building, the weight of truth crashing down as he mutters, and it looks like it's true. Jin Hyuk clenches a fist crackling with purple energy, declaring coldly that the corruption or monopoly of a large guild is none of his concern. A brutal impact shatters the street as the man in the long coat storms forward, fury burning in his eyes. No one threatens him and gets away with it. The man in the long coat grabs a nearby pipe, swinging it with savage precision to break through the advancing guard's defense. Jin Hyuk summons a blazing orb in his palm, flames roaring to life as he vows to annihilate everyone standing in his way. The man with dark hair at desk slams his hand against his forehead, seething as he snarls a brutal curse into the tense silence of his office. The man in gray suit throne crashes backward as a furious fist slams the ground, the voice accusing him of botching a covert kill, waking deadly guardians, and turning the mission into chaos. Jin Hyuk's fist clenches tight as he roars about their guild's reputation crumbling, furious that one failure to punish a humiliator has dragged them all through the mud and threatens to erase their name. The man being kicked crumples under a brutal strike while two guards stand rigid, eyes sharp, guarding the ominous double doors behind them. An explosion rips through the room, hurling two men into shattered bookshelves and sending glass and debris crashing down around them. Jiansu screams for help as a fiery figure clenches a blazing fist, shattering glass and sending everyone scrambling in chaos. The man with dark hair at desk land in a crouch, eyes sharp, ready to seize the perfect moment to impress Hyung-nim again. The man being kicked lunges with a desperate attack, but Young Man meets it head-on, his glowing hand blocking the strike as he declares a fierce return to his former self. The man in gray suit throne crashes backward, his head snapping against the edge of the bookshelf as books scatter, leaving him dazed and vulnerable on the floor. Jin Hyuk stands unfazed, smirking as the furious man at the desk points and shouts accusations about past humiliations and false hopes of safety after crossing powerful enemies. Jin Hyuk lounges on the sofa, dismissing the anger with a calm, "That's not something you should be concerned about," while casually admiring the game board between them. Shin Jiansu's eyes blaze with focus as he snatches the sword from the stand, instantly triggering his level 5 quick sword skill. Jiansu hurls a cylindrical object across the room, aiming straight at the man calmly seated in the chair. Jiansu lunges forward, slashing with his sword at lightning speed, taunting that his quick sword move is faster than sound itself. Jin Hyuk lies still, eyes calm as a massive weapon crashes down, the chilling threat echoing. "Then you should die." Jin Hyuk smirks, unfazed as the Jiansu swings his sword in shock, stammering about a go piece, but the strike cuts through nothing but air. The man leans back, casually placing white stones on the board while holding a small, glowing object, declaring, "You had something perfect for me to throw." Now, then, as tension thickens in the room, Jin Hyuk's voice cuts through the silence, sharp and commanding as he challenges. "Shall we resume our discussion, Shin Jiansu?" Jiansu, knife clenched tight, lashes out with fierce rage, demanding if this is all about revenge for his deadly betrayal. Jiansu, knife clenched tight, lashes out with fierce rage, demanding if this is all about revenge for his deadly betrayal. Amidst the cracked floor and raging fire, multiple injured people lie scattered, casualties of the chaos, tearing the building apart just for revenge. Jinyuk's sharp, electrified object straight into the man with black hair, looking surprised forehead, making him cry out in shock as blood drips and a coin slips from his grasp. The man thrown to the ground crashes hard, but Jin-hyuk just smirks, slamming his glowing electric ring to life like he's about to shock everyone's bad attitude right out of the room. Hyeonsa begs Jin-hyuk to stop, desperate and worn out, but Jin-hyuk just fires back with a smug grin, asking if that means he should hold back, like he's even capable of going easy now. Jiansu cuts through the chaos, urging everyone to stay calm and reminding them that over 50 rankers are busy clearing the tower, so they're not alone in this fight. Jinyuk challenges the older guy with a cold so, but the older man fires back hard, warning that killing him means everyone else will hunt the killer down without mercy. No escape, no second chances. The armored knights clash fiercely, spears dripping with blood, trapped in a brutal cycle where every strike demands revenge and forgiveness is a stranger. This war won't end until one side breaks the chain. The unknown hand casually scoops coins from a bowl, mocking how talk of blood and revenge disrupts their peace. Like those words don't haunt everyone else too. Jin-hyuk clenches his fist so tight metal rings slip through his fingers, declaring they should just end things cleanly, catching the other character completely off guard. Jin-hyuk's eyes blaze red as flames roar around his fist, vowing he'll be the last to take revenge and demanding forgiveness like it's the final word. Jin-hyuk clenches a glowing energy in his hand, while the other guy freaks out, yelling, "Wait, how does that make any sense? And what do you mean?" as confusion and frustration hit hard. Jiansu's eyes snap open as he shouts, wait," desperately trying to keep up, insisting, "I'm just following your logic," but the tension is way too thick to ignore. Jin-hyuk gets slammed by a fierce purple-pink energy blast, the force blasting him backward like a rag doll caught in a storm. Jongsu crashes through the massive glass window, shards flying everywhere as purple energy pulses violently around him, turning the room into chaos. Jin-hyuk stands firm among the shattered glass and fallen chandelier, his intense gaze cutting through the chaos like he's ready to finish what just exploded. As the man lies defeated, Jin-hyuk looms over him, dropping the bomb that Hajin's survival is all thanks to his sister, and she's clearly been pulling some serious strings behind the scenes. The man in foreground stands tall, hands in pockets, staring down the defeated man in the gray suit, and coldly warns him to stay out of sight until he dies naturally. No second chances. Jin-hyuk, sharp and commanding, snaps at the guy faking death among the rubble to get up, and the man wastes no time answering with a determined yes. Jin-hyuk's intense gaze cuts through the tension as he demands a self-introduction, making it clear survival hinges on proving your worth. No uselessness allowed. Kim Hee-woong steps up, no hesitation, dropping his name, age, and flexing his resume. Ex-leader of the Black Crow Guild's operations, Stanford grad in comp sci and accounting, making it clear he's not just talk, he's the real deal. Jin-hyuk admits he's impressed by Hee-woong's skills, but both agree the situation is seriously grim, no sugarcoating the stakes they're up against. Hee-woong gets hit with a heavy responsibility as the confident man declares the guild won't be destroyed, but handed over, leaving Hee-woong nervously accepting the daunting task of running one of the top guilds. Jin-hyuk downplays the whole guild master role, saying it's just for show while Hee-woong doubts anyone would actually follow him, making the weight of fake leadership feel even heavier. Hee-woong grips his royal cape tight, nerves barely hidden as shadowy figures with glowing red eyes and the watchful crowd silently question how a secretary suddenly climbed to the throne, setting the stage for serious opposition. Jin-hyuk coolly assures his partner that opposition isn't a problem, while the other guy nervously asks if Jin-hyuk will handle the threats himself, setting up a tense promise of decisive action. Jin-hyuk flashes a glowing ring on a chain, brushing off the idea of handling things himself and casually offering to lend someone else instead, keeping his cool and confidence unshaken. The person holding phone gets hit with an urgent alert ordering all A-rank players to drop everything and head to the penthouse, sparking instant frustration over the timing of this emergency meeting. Amidst a tense raid, the group struggles with the sudden order, one insisting they were already in the thick of it, while another voices frustration over how impossible it is to just drop everything and comply. At the Black Crow Guild HQ, the man in foreground clenches his teeth, voicing his irritation loud and clear while the A-rank players stand firm, bracing themselves for whatever's next. At the Black Crow Guild HQ, the man in foreground clenches his teeth, voicing his irritation loud and clear while the A-rank players stand firm, bracing themselves for whatever's next. A sharp-suited man demands the gray-haired Jiansu to step aside, questioning why he's blocking someone else's building, just as Jiansu gets slammed hard onto a white car, denting the hood and shocking everyone nearby. Jiansu lies motionless, eyes shut and mouth agape, clearly knocked out cold after that brutal hit. The room's a disaster zone, chairs overturned, glass shattered, and multiple injured people sprawled out lifeless or unconscious, while the chilling words echo, "The Guildmaster is dead." The room's a disaster zone, chairs overturned, glass shattered, and multiple injured people sprawled out lifeless or unconscious, while the chilling words echo, "The Guildmaster is dead." Jin-hyuk sits cool and collected behind his desk, unfazed by the shattered window behind him, as the nameplate and files hint he's got control. Even as someone yells, "Kim Hee-woong," the man in foreground, frustration written all over his face, yells, holding up a glowing blue object like it's proof of some wild accusation, demanding, "Why are you sitting there?" The man in suit with wavy brown hair grabs the man with black hair and sunglasses by the collar, shouting for every single detail while the nervous guy stammers, clearly overwhelmed and sweating under the pressure. The person with reddish hair and the man with black hair and sunglasses watch a mysterious figure with long white hair outside as the man with black hair notes that new consignees have arrived, while the white-haired figure mutters something barely audible. The man with black hair grabs his colleague by the collar, frustrated as more new consignees stream into the office, making the whole situation even more of a headache. The man with black hair grabs his colleague by the collar, frustrated as more new consignees stream into the office, making the whole situation even more of a headache. Jin-hyuk stares in disbelief, struggling to wrap his head around the claim that a child is actually behind all this chaos. Jin-hyuk stares in disbelief, struggling to wrap his head around the claim that a child is actually behind all this chaos. Suddenly, an explosion rips through the building, sending fiery debris flying everywhere and shaking the cityscape to its core. Hee-woong and the others scramble, eyes wide as flames blaze behind them, one shouting about the explosion while another spots someone crashing hard nearby. Hee-woong clutches his head, frustration written all over his face as he mutters about Alice. He trusted her to handle the guild, but she went and stirred up a whole new mess. The person holding phone scrolls through a message about awakening test results, the city buzzing behind them as the Tower of Trials marks its 2-month anniversary. The world order's shifting hard, and people are hustling to keep up, with digital billboards flashing insane sales and mining guard recruitment, signaling this new era's rapid, ruthless pace. The news anchor breaks down how the mass player just solo cleared a ruin that even a massive attack squad failed to conquer, turning heads and shaking up expectations everywhere. Only 2 people know the mass player's real identity, and Mr. Kim, the porter leader, happily agreed to keep the secret under wraps. Teresa steps up, cool and confident, sealing the deal by promising to keep the mass player's secret just like Mr. Kim. Teresa steps up, cool and confident, sealing the deal by promising to keep the mass player's secret just like Mr. Kim. The towering Awakened Association building stands sharp against the bright blue sky, a silent fortress promising power and secrets high above the bustling city below. The man in the coat bows deeply, sealing the deal as others casually move around, the tension finally snapping. Everything's set, no turning back now. Jiansu steps into the light, streaming through the open door, declaring loud and clear. There are no more restraints binding him. The young man in hoodie, eyes blazing with resolve, declares it's finally his moment to take control and monopolize everything.